Okay, so let's be real. Your company's probably spending millions, maybe even more, on all the latest data platforms and AI tools, right? The whole shebang. So why does it feel like you're still just guessing? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the real reason so many data strategies are just falling flat.
Man, this quote, it just hits home, doesn't it? I mean, it perfectly captures that massive frustration you feel in boardrooms, on data teams, everywhere, really. You've got all the tools, the dashboards, the cloud platforms, but that big promise of being data-driven, it just isn't happening. It's this feeling of being completely stuck.
So why? Why is this happening? I mean, if it's not a problem with the tech, then what on earth is it? Yeah, this is what we can call the billion-dollar paradox. You see, organizations are pouring absolutely historic amounts of money into data. But for most of them, the return on that investment, it's just not there. It's this huge, widespread issue where the tech keeps getting fancier and fancier, but the actual business value, it stays stubbornly just out of reach.
And here it is. This is the core diagnosis. It's time to stop blaming the tools. The real problem, it's human. It's a failure of mindset, a major gap in governance, and a massive cultural disconnect. The most important thing to get is this. We've been looking in the completely wrong place this whole time.
And that failure, it all comes from one fundamental mistake. We are simply asking the wrong questions, right from the very beginning. Our whole focus is off. And that one little error at the start just cascades down and poisons every single part of the strategy.
Okay, so check this out. What's so interesting here is how it frames the whole problem. You've got the old way, the failing way. It's totally obsessed with the what and how. What cloud provider should be used? What's the best visualization tool? What about our infrastructure? But the new way, the one that actually works, it just flips the script completely. It starts with why and who. Why are we even doing this? Who is this for? And how do we build the right mindset, the right culture, and get the leadership on board to actually make it happen? See the difference?
So, okay, how do we make that shift? The solution, it turns out, lies in these three really powerful ideas. Let's call them manifestos. Think of them as a whole new set of rules to guide your entire approach to data. All right, let's dive into the first one, and trust me, it's a big one. We have to completely kill the myth that a data initiative is just another tech project. It is not a software upgrade, it's not a system migration. No, it's something much, much deeper than that.
And this is such a brilliant way to understand why. Look, data isn't some siloed department you call up when you need a report printed. It's the central nervous system of your entire organization. It's the network of signals that allows all your business muscles, sales, ops, marketing, to actually function. If you don't have those clean signals, the muscles are basically paralyzed.
Yeah, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? If your core business strategy doesn't put data right at the very center, you're not really creating a strategy. You're just guessing. You're hoping for the best. Okay, manifesto number 2. This one is all about reframing a common headache for pretty much every organization: shadow data. You know what I'm talking about. But instead of seeing it as this huge problem, we need to start seeing it as a really valuable clue. I mean, come on, we've all seen it, right? Those secret spreadsheets, the manual trackers that people build just because the official systems are way too slow. Or, let's be honest, they just don't work. Now, the old way of thinking sees this as some kind of rebellion, but the new mindset, it sees it for what it really is: survival. These shadow systems are a distress signal. They're basically a map showing you exactly where your official systems are failing and creating a ton of friction for your people. And this is the powerful takeaway right here. You have to stop playing whack-a-mole, trying to hunt down and shut down every unofficial spreadsheet. It's pointless. Instead, use them as your guide. Hunt down the friction that made people create them in the first place. Go solve the root problem.
And that brings us to our third and final manifesto. This one gets to the very heart of the matter, the ultimate purpose of all this data stuff: driving action. And it all comes down to passing something called the now what test.
Now, this is a really subtle but absolutely crucial shift in thinking. For years, all we've heard is be data-driven, be data-driven. But this manifesto says no, we need to be decision-driven. The goal isn't just to produce a cool insight or a pretty chart for a presentation. The goal is to produce something so compelling that it forces a leader to look at it and go, okay, now what? It has to demand a decision.
I just love how blunt this is. It's so true. You can have 1,000 amazing insights, but if they don't lead to one single meaningful business decision, they're worthless. The value is only unlocked when that data actually leads to action. Okay, so let's circle back to that core metaphor we talked about earlier, the nervous system, because it's really the key to taking all this from just an abstract concept and turning it into a practical business reality.
So here's how it actually works in practice. Think about it. Data. That's what provides the clean signals, right? The clear, trustworthy information. Then you have your business units, sales, marketing, ops. Those are the muscles that have to act on those signals. But what happens if the signals are noisy or delayed or just flat out wrong? Well, the muscles can't move correctly. A weak nervous system, which is just a bad data strategy, means your whole organization is basically just stumbling around in the dark, guessing. So the big question is, how do we make that final leap? How do we get from just having an insight to actually taking action? Well, it requires a new, much more disciplined process. You see, the old way of doing things usually stopped right there at step 2. You'd focus on the data, create a dashboard, and, well, that's it. Job done. But the decision-driven approach adds 2 absolutely critical non-negotiable steps. First, does this thing pass the now what test? Does it make the next action totally obvious? And then, most importantly, does it actually drive a concrete business decision? If not, you're not done.
And that, right there, is really the bottom line of this whole thing. Stop measuring success by how many reports you can generate. The only, and I mean only, metric that matters is the number of valuable business outcomes you actually create.
So I want to leave you with this one question to take back to your team, to your organization. Take a really hard, honest look at your data strategy. Ask yourself, is it just a fancy report-making machine? Or is it a powerful engine that's built to force the tough, the necessary, and the truly valuable decisions that will actually move your business forward? Because believe me, the answer to that question, it changes everything.